Studios. Bueller, Dodge, and Dennis ready to break you off some MMA news and, of course, recap the fights that happened last weekend, that are coming up this weekend, and whatever else might be going down.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. Tomorrow, Revenge of the 5th.
Fucking nerds.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Revenge of the 5th.
Dennis has not seen Avengers yet, so we won't be able to talk about it.
No, I don't really think you're not going to hurt nothing. I won't be
All I got to say is it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Fucking Spider-Man,
Yeah.
man.
That was
Fucking Spider.
that was the
Iron
best.
Spider?
Yeah.
All the fights we got to recap, and we can't recap that one because of this fucking guy.
No, you can. You can. Come on. I grew up in where my mom watched General Hospital. I know characters can come back. They can be rewritten.
Yeah, of course.
It's a script, people.
It's a twin.
He was in a coma the entire
Did you notice
time.
that it, like, the scar moved to the left side?
See, you guys watch the same one.
Yep. All right, so we want to jump into this?
We can jump into this.
Yeah, sure.
So we last week talked about the UFC ranking system
Yes,
and
we
how
did.
kind of wonky it seems to be at times.
Yeah.
How specifically two guys can vote something and things move up and down.
Wonky.
Last week I called all these guys assholes.
Every single one of them.
And he's sorry.
And I'm sorry, because not all of them are assholes, but I do feel like there are some that are more qualified than others.
Here's my question that I didn't get a follow-up on, which I probably should have with the one that I spoke with.
Yep.
Is if they're supposed to vote after every fight, then how
Within
come
48 hours.
Then how come only 2 people voted?
So this is exactly the same question he asked me when I came in today.
It's like you're in my mind.
Wow.
In fact, I wrote an article for my MMA News on this, and they published it today, so you can check it out.
Saw it. All right.
Basically, what it comes down to is they could turn in the same thing over and over and over again. They just have to turn
Okay.
something in
Yeah.
within 48 hours of an event. Otherwise, they get removed from voting.
Oh, really?
It's not. They're not the only 2 that voted that week. They're the only 2 that changed
Made
their
changes.
ballots.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. And no explanation
They were
for that,
the
though.
only 2 people that had just talked to each other and was like, "What do you think?" I think.
Well, I mean, there were other rankings.
throw a dart at the board.
There were other rankings that did change. Just the pound for pound was the ones that everyone was throwing a fit about because the pound for pound ranking shouldn't change with Conor going up for not fighting.
Yeah, especially not that, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
if some of the other rankings did change, I think I saw, one of the lightweight fights, obviously, 2 fighters fought each other. They swapped rankings because
Yeah.
one had won and one had lost. Made sense. Again, I talked to a couple different MMA journalists out there that gave their opinions on why. A lot of these guys aren't allowed to vote. So a lot of the big MMA journalists aren't allowed to because they have policies in their company that say they're not allowed to.
It's like a conflict of interest.
It's conflict of interest because the UFC uses these rankings for matchmaking, for contract negotiations, for anything financial. A lot of these guys are like, yeah, we don't really want to have an impact on somebody's financial.
Not when Connor's paying you to move him up. Might get in trouble at work for that.
And that's where I got to get. You got to give it up to the guys that actually got back to us and talked to us about it, or owned up, or even explained how it went.
Yeah, I mean,
because a lot of people. I mean, you did what you did. We just want to know how. Why?
Yeah, I've even found a couple articles with a couple guys. In the beginning, when they first got voted on, they were explaining every time. They wrote like a blog every time they made changes, why they made changes.
Really?
And then there's other guys that are like, fuck you, I'm blocking you on Twitter because you're making a big deal about this.
But it kind of is a big deal.
We've had a few of those.
Yeah, it kind of is a big deal. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, this got brought up in Congress. This is this is what got brought up in Congress, and this is what was taken to them as fact that those guys voted on. That went into Congress as fact.
Well, the fact of the matter is, this is in the world of MMA. This does matter. This is a big deal.
It should matter.
Yeah, if we're talking about the grand scheme of things in the entire planet, then no, of course it doesn't matter. But if your job is MMA and one of the points to your job is to do this, then it matters.
Yeah, I went into looking into every single one of these voters, and there's some guys that the website that they claim they represent either doesn't exist anymore or they no longer work for.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the UFC should be looking into this and saying, okay, look, you don't represent this website anymore. You may now represent another MMA website. That's fine, but we need to change some of these credentials. Otherwise, if you're not writing about and following the sport anymore, you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Yeah. No, it's time for the UFC to clean house. I already put my application in, so
Yeah.
So when they send you a ballot, because you know it's coming, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, smart ass." I mean, is that what you would do when you put your whatever you changes you'd made? You'd let people know so there was no question.
I have no problem. Like I said, and I understand. Everyone's opinion is different. That's part of this show. We argue all the time. That's why it's split decision.
No, but
we can never decide.
Let them die.
We can never, always agree on anything. So there's things.
No, that would be boring.
There are things that we talk about, but as fans and as people who do this semi for a living, do we get paid for this at all? No.
No.
So who do this for fun?
Don't we pay to do this?
You know what I
It's
mean?
a really expensive hobby. Not really.
But I'm okay with engaging with other fans and other people about the sport, and we do it all the time. You know, and you try to convince me why you think this guy should move up or this guy should move down or he should get a title shot or he should. To me, that's part of being a fan, is talking about the sport. But when you're just like, this guy, why? He's from Sweden and I'm from Sweden.
Yeah, that's...
What? Like, you're actually putting money in that guy's pocket or taking money away from other guys. That shouldn't be allowed.
You're taking advantage of your position at that point.
Yeah.
And that's not what this is for. These are supposed to be honest rankings, you know, and that's why there's so many people in the pool for it. And it's not just one dude dictating who it is.
To me, 14 people is not a lot of people.
No, it's not enough. It's
for the
definitely not
UFC
enough.
rankings.
No.
I think there definitely should be more. Or like I said, some sort of vetting. I mean, I don't know. I don't mind engaging in discussion with people about, if I was to do this, if I was to get, or even you were to do this, if every time...
Well, if I get it, I'm just giving it to you.
Every time...
I'm not responsible enough for that shit.
You know what I mean? Writing why, having to justify why. I mean, I understand it would get tedious, and I understand some of these guys are going to, like, I don't want to have to fucking tell you every single reason why. But at the same time, you should be
But you
able
should
to.
have a reason.
You
Yeah.
should be able to, other than just, people have been talking about him a lot. Move him up.
Yeah. If you're going to put your claim out there, you got to be able to back that claim.
So anyway, yeah, check out the article, MyMMAnews.com.
Like, Josh is a professional at that when it comes to anything else on Facebook.
On what?
Backing up your claim. If you're going to
Backing
make
up
a
your
claim,
No, if you're gonna make a claim, you
you got to back
Better
it
have
up.
evidence.
Yeah.
Better have evidence.
He'll find it.
Moving on to this happened down. Let's see, what was this? UFC Fight Night 128. That was the controversial fight we talked about last week. The management for Divalishvili did protest and take it to Nevada State Athletic Commission, or excuse me, New Jersey State Athletic Commission about what had happened. They have denied his request.
They denied
NJ
it,
says,
really?
Yep.
no way.
They said they actually had a very, very long, well thought out, very good description of everything. Just a little brief spot on it. They said Mr. Kerrigan, who's the referee, his call was that Mr. Davalishi had lost consciousness momentarily as he separated the fighters and quickly regained his faculties. In New Jersey, we would then record that as a TKO via technical submission. However, I do believe Mr. Buffer, due to broadcast pressure, announced it simply as a TKO, and it was such as he did not wait for the agency scorekeeper to conclude the writing of the announcer decision card. It is protocol for me to overturn referee's calls only if, in my discretion, the referee committed a self-evident and palpable error. At this point, they're saying absolutely not. That it had nothing to do with the medic staff coming in, had nothing to do with being rushed. It had nothing. It was based on the referee's count, and they actually, I mean, they talked to Big John about this. They talked to Goddard about this. The other referees that were present. That this is what we saw. He had a momentary loss of consciousness. Was unable to get up immediately at the bell. He did regain consciousness, however, he still had no recollection that he went out. So again, the claim has been denied. They're just moving forward.
We've seen plenty of people get choked unconscious, then pop right back to their feet. Like,
yeah,
Let
if you
them
want to
die.
find, you can find this. They decided the New Jersey State Athletic Commission decided to post this to the public so that you can see the decision, and so it's not just they denied us. You can actually find this whole thing online if you want to take a look. Given that it was so detailed and well thought out, I thought it was just a pretty good explanation.
Well, I'm glad they did that.
And I like commissions who are willing to do this.
yeah, I agree with you. Hey, we agree.
Yeah. And to jump one story back, the AP poll, which does NCAA football, is composed of 65 voters.
That's quite a bit.
Sports writers and sportscasters.
That's quite a bit compared to the 14 that the UFC has. That
Yeah, I don't
may or
know
may
why
not
they
be
haven't opened
employed
that up more.
in the apparently, when I was doing my research, I found a longer list when they first introduced it, which I thought was like 2015.
Okay.
Was the first time I could find some articles being written about it, where it was opened up pretty long. And then I think a lot of guys, once they found out that the UFC was like, hey, guess what? We've decided to pull Nate Diaz because we're in contract negotiations with him, and he's kind of giving us a lip, so we're going to say he's out of the rankings. So his rankings don't matter as much anymore. I think a lot of guys in the MMA journalist world were like, yo, that's not fair. Like, I don't want any part of that. Like, especially when they're saying, hey, by the way, Nate, do you realize you're not in the rankings anymore? And they don't tell them that it's because we pulled you. They just say, hey, these journalists don't think you're worth a damn anymore.
Right.
There's no transparency.
None.
So, and that's a big problem for a lot of MMA
They got to
journalists.
clean up their house on both sides of the tracks, because on the UFC side of the tracks too, not just that, like pulling fighters off for negotiation reasons, but then leaving fighters on like Connor, who haven't fought in almost 600 days.
You know, and that's the thing.
Are
is
you
that
talking to labor union?
They tried to.
They will blackball our show.
They tried to do that, you know, with Nate. They said, oh, well, we took him off the rankings because he's been inactive. Well, what about Connor? He's been inactive for a year and a half.
Yep.
I bring that up all the time. I'm like, I don't even know why I see his name.
Right. I don't either.
There should be a big asterisk. currently not a fighter. Possible convict.
but apparently,
But the thing is like with Cub Swanson, they pulled him off too during contract negotiations,
Maybe
and then
doing
the
7
minute he
years in
signed a
prison.
contract, he was right back in the ring.
Yes,
Like nothing happened.
and that's dirty. That's why they got to clean up their house on both sides. Period. It has to be done.
Johnny Hendricks in the news again. He is saying he is a free agent.
Pig ring. Pig ring.
He is saying,
here we go.
He is saying no. He says the UFC still wants me,
No,
but
they
they
don't.
want me to go back to 170.
Here's what they want. They want you to go to 100%, and then they'll talk about maybe rehiring you.
If you want
You have to sign. You have to sign a contract that says you will be at 100% at every fight. There's not going to be any 70, 80% bullshit anymore.
See, I love pictures like that. I was like, man, I could pull that off. That's one of those. Yeah. Is this what you want, babe? She's like, no, not at all.
So
You got to make a smiley face out of that stuff.
It looks like a shark.
Like a
Coming at
blob
it.
shark, like a blobfish. It's just
a whale shark. So remember, Johnny Hendricks is 2-6 of his last 8. He has been knocked out
Rude.
twice at
It's fucking.
at middleweight.
That's what it does. Is sad Groot. That's what his stomach sounds like. Just.
Do you think, first of all, do you think he could go back to 170?
No.
Pig rig.
Did he
missed
ever-
weight twice in a
listen,
row.
Did he ever actually make 170?
And I like how everyone, there was an argument I was
Only
watching
when he was
online between people
45 and 60%. That's 105% between both.
talking
arms.
about how after USADA came through, he was one of the guys that A, didn't make weight, and B, have the same performance.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to talk shit about GSP.
I was scared with the hand movement. I thought you were gonna say he was gay.
No, GSP.
But he is not.
GSP.
Make that perfectly clear.
Not that there would be anything wrong with that.
There's not.
GSP offered to pay for their USADA testing before USADA came to the UFC. Said he would pay for both
You're
sides
a
of it.
soft bear.
And Hendricks was like, "Nah, UFC doesn't want the testing. I'm cool. I'm cool with the testing we got."
And then all of a sudden it's mandatory.
it's mandatory. He doesn't quite look the same. But he's saying that. Oh, I did pretty well at 185. I mean, these guys don't kick as hard, and I was hurting them. I mean, even though I got knocked out twice in a row, I was hurting these guys. So I think I could do big time damage if I go back to 170.
Even though I lost, I could have won.
Yeah. He's definitely going to sell you the undercoating in about 5 years. So what's it going to take to get you in this Tesla? We can do sound editor on it.
Do you think he stays in the UFC?
No, I think he goes to Bellator.
I don't know where he's going to fight. There's so many. Like I hear Frank Mir's going to go fight for somebody in between the next Bellator fight.
Yeah, he wants to go fight kickboxing.
This is different.
We'll get to that, yeah. Moving on, Colby Covington has now become the...
Why he would cut off the ass? There's a lot of ass that's out
It's
of
the
the
picture.
shot.
It's right there
I
in
didn't
front of
cut
you.
it.
Okay.
I
You
didn't
stare at
cut
all
it.
those buttholes.
It just was there. Colby Covington thinks he's now the Dan Bilzerian, basically.
That's the only thing they should see.
Of MMA.
Just that.
He is taking a lot of pictures with a lot of models. These happen to be porn stars from Cam Soda. And then he recently did an interview where he said he had a threesome with them.
But did he count?
The first one looks like Count Chocula.
He just said he had a threesome with the porn stars. In fact, one of the porn
You
stars.
take Count
though,
Chocula, I want Frankenberry.
One of the porn stars from the picture says, "Oh no, the fuck we didn't. You didn't fuck me. I don't know why my picture's with you. You saying you fucking porn stars because you didn't fuck me. You might have fucked porn stars, but it wasn't me. I don't know why my picture is associated with you. I want to make it real clear. You didn't fuck me."
But he said threesome. There's 3 other porn chicks.
Yeah.
She called him out, basically saying that I don't even think it even happened.
I don't think anything happened either.
That he's just basically trying to again be the Dan Bilzerian.
No, he's trolling it up.
Of MMA.
He's like, damn it, they saw that shit?
He recently said he's a supervillain now and can pretty much do what he wants, and this is what's to be expected is for him to be able to be
He's
outlandish.
trying to go ultra heel.
Yeah.
You can't do that broke. Well, there's one guy who's really rich who's barely pulling it off.
There's a couple websites now don't want to cover anything Colby Covington
won't associate
anymore.
with him?
They just want to cut ties because he's basically become the world's biggest douchebag.
It's 2018, bro. That kind of shit doesn't work
Dude,
anymore.
porn stars and hookers have a voice.
And they're saying,
I'm a person too.
Well, yeah, what kind of porn do you watch?
moving on.
Courtesy porn.
Courtesy porn?
Hello, man.
We have a little Twitter beef going
A
on.
little bit from the backside today.
Oh, did you think about taking off your clothes, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Little Twitter beef going on. Nico
Sorry, eh?
Montano, the UFC, what is she, the
Oh, that's right.
She's the first
flyweight champion, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
she's the first Native American champion, right?
Right. She's having a little bit of Twitter beef with Mr. Ariel Helwani. Ariel Helwani recently tweeted this, saying UFC is losing its patience with Nico Montano. As I reported last week, the plan was for her to defend her 125-pound title against Shevchenko in Calgary, but they're having a hard time getting commitment from her. While it's not scrapped, they are now looking at other options. Immediately, teammates of Nico responded to this tweet as well as herself. She went on her own Twitter as well as Instagram saying, "This just in, Ariel Helwani is a huge waste of space. Everyone in the grandma knows about my condition. I am 5 days post tonsillectomy and android removal surgery due to a bacterial infection."
Android.
She did not have an android removed from her.
She got the cell phone removed from her ass. It was a cell phone. This
is coming to us fast, people. We haven't had time to check it out.
I haven't read this.
The android maybe.
That's been inhibiting my practice all year. Soon as I can get back on the mat in 16 more days. The UFC not only knows about this, but flew me out to Vegas themselves to have this surgery done ASAP.
What are you talking about? They do this to little kids. They get ice cream and kick their asses outside to go play.
But she had a bacterial infection, sir. Soon as I can get back, soon as I get back, I will be fighting Shevchenko. It is lined up. If you've been a fan of mine, then you know about my mindset. No girls, anything that I am not. Who's scared to fight? It's what I do. I was ranked 14 coming in the show. I came out number 1. Apparently, this douchebag's best interest is to throw my name out to the wolves in order to stay relevant.
He got you to respond?
Yeah, well, apparently, also in his Twitter, he was like, I've tried reaching out to her multiple times for an interview, and she just hasn't gotten back to me. And then that's when he released the UFC thing, is upset. And so she decided to respond, like I said, with this big lengthy post and basically said, I literally haven't spoken a word in 5 days due to my condition. Mr. Poor excuse of a man has not only brought it upon himself to be the leader of the idiot fans who don't know the difference between MMA and the UFC, but also has the balls the size of a baby rat.
The rats have huge balls. My daughter just got 2 rats, and the balls are gigantic.
She also says,
kind of insane how big they are.
P.S. Ariel Helwani, you suck at your job. I heard the UFC is looking for a better journalist that's actually knowledgeable. Do you like fighters calling out people like this?
No, I don't.
No?
I don't think it's that long of a post. maybe about half that long of a post.
All right. Dennis?
I want to see. I want to know
why
Ariel Helwani back this up. If he says
he hasn't said anything.
Hey, send us redacted forms. Take people's names off of somebody who told you we're pissed at her right now.
No. I want to see his DMs or whatever of him reaching out to her. Show me that. Show me that you sent an email. Show me that you sent a text. Show me that you sent a DM or a tweet or something at her before saying I reached out to her and she said no. Show me that. Just show me that, and then we can have see which side to believe. But right now,
a lot of people are also saying that Ariel Helwani is basically, he might have heard something or he thinks that the UFC will be upset, so he immediately, I have sources that say, and puts that story out where she's like, look, they fucking flew me out for the surgery.
Yeah, that's quick draw journalism, which we see way too much now. But why say that you reached out for interviews if you can't back that up? Now I want to see that. I mean, so I'm kind of calling Ariel Helwani out on that. Show us anything.
He asked about her. What's going on? What's her name? Oh, I don't know. They mad at her right now. They're mad.
He was like, was he trying to reach her like telepathically?
Come on my show. What do you mean you don't want to do my show? I'm going to report that you're not going to be fighting.
Yeah, the bad joke.
You don't want to be on my show.
The bad joke here would be smoke signals.
Smoke signals.
That'd be
we don't say that. No, he went to Mama Cleo.
Yeah.
Call me now.
If you have UFC EA, UFC 3, you can now get Bruce Buffer as a fighter.
Awesome.
You have to go into tournament mode, name the tournament Bruce Buffer, create a 16-man tournament with a strict weight class, fill the tournament bracket with all your fighters, press start, and all of a sudden Bruce Buffer will suddenly be a fighter in that tournament. If you beat him, you unlock him as a playable character.
Does he yell at you with a microphone?
I don't know. He looks like this when he got beat up, though.
All right.
Just before he finishes you, he's like, it's time!
For you to get knocked the fuck out!
The Buffer 360.
It's not Bruce Buffer, it's Bruce Buffest.
That'd be sweet if he does the 360, like, spinning back fist.
He should. Yeah, Bruce Buffest.
Also, speaking about Bruce Buffer...
Buffest.
He's buffering. He is now in a music video where he basically, it's a UFC themed music video. This is coming out from Steve Aoki and Laidback Luke. I think we should play it, but I don't know if we have the license to do that.
Fucking time vampire again.
Yeah.
This time vampire.
The track is called "It's Time," featuring UFC announcer Bruce Buffer. So basically, he just says it's time. They got to film this whole thing at the UFC Performance Institute, which is pretty cool. And you have Cam Shamrock out there with his old man glasses, like coaching these guys, because Cam Shamrock's got nothing else to do that day.
Nope.
And he was hanging out at the UFC Performance Institute. It's kind of cool.
He's like the Bill Murray of MMA. He just kind of shows
up.
Yeah.
So they put this whole thing down at the new UFC headquarters. Pretty cool looking. You never get to see them actually fight. They square off, and it's Rocky style. They both throw a punch, and it's face black. That's the end of the song.
Of course.
But the whole song is them like working out the whole time.
Well, you got to wait for the song part 2.
Part 2, there it is, and it definitely, it's got a beat. It's got a beat. Check it out.
They can release the song in rounds, right? And then they can milk it that way.
I do think it's funny though that they have like Bruce Buffers there announcing them. They're at the UFC Performance Institute. They're wearing UFC gloves to go through this whole thing, but they don't have Ariane. They just have some random ass
some random one
ring card girl because they couldn't afford her, I guess, for the rest of the video.
They spent too much money on Bruce.
On Bruce Buffer and his catchphrase, "It's time."
That's true.
Yeah, they put the money down.
One Championship is now going to be creating a new app for their website. This app will allow you to watch all of the ONE FC content streaming live.
Oh, wow.
And it's not geo-locked, which means if you're here in the United States, you can watch basically ONE FC for free as long as you download the app.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I think it's very cool. Do you think anybody else will be moving towards this market? Do you see Bellator getting ready to do this with an app? I mean, I know they have an app, but
Not for free.
UFC at all, you think?
No, definitely not UFC. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense to them.
With the way that radio's making its comeback, I think people are putting more money back into visual advertising and realizing that that's the way to go, because this trying to sell it to us isn't going to work. Just put up people's products that we buy, and then you get the money from them. Because for making me pay for every time I got to watch it, dude, I already got to pay for a whole bunch of shit. There's just other ways for you to get the money.
Yeah.
And I told you, for the big stuff, I'll watch the big stuff. But if you're not somebody that I'm going to pay money for, then get the money from the people that I buy stuff, and then advertise on there. Let me know when the new soda is out, or the new Pepsi's out, or
Where to get new tires?
yeah. Except for one tire. Stay away from that. That tire is
One
deadly.
tire.
Yeah.
That
I thought
tire.
it was a fucking Firestone.
It was a retread.
It was a retread.
You can't say that, sir. He was a special tire.
Bellator 198, Fedor versus Mir, took place April 28th.
Did it?
It did. Did
it?
you miss it?
No, I watched the whole thing on a GIF.
The whole thing on a GIF.
It was a minute. What? No. 2-minute GIF.
48 seconds.
If you want to start at the beginning here, Dylan Dennis, Conor McGregor's best friend in
He's
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
undefeated in mixed martial arts.
is undefeated in mixed martial arts. Here you can see his tap out win. Dylan Dennis over Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker. If you Neiman Gracie got his win. Rafael Lovato Jr.
Bill.
over Gerald
Go to
Harris.
Dodge.
Manuel Sanchez.
Is it really a can if it was his first fight though?
Do you know who the guy was?
No, but I don't know who Dylan Dennis is because he
At least he's
bailed
clickable.
Connor out. At least he's clickable. This is true.
Dylan Dennis also he did have some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu experience. He is undefeated, and he is going full Conor McGregor already. At the press conference, he was telling Scott Coker that as soon as the fight's over, you and me are going to be business partners. I'm going to own half of Bellator. Is going nonstop on Twitter and Instagram, calling out other fighters, being like, hey, at least one of us is undefeated. He called out Ben Askren at the post fight, and Ben Askren responded, well, yeah, of course it's a safe bet because he knows I'm not going to actually come fight him because it's not worth my time. Like,
I'm undefeated, Dylan Dennis.
yeah, fight
Let's
him.
go.
Do it. Let's set it up.
I'm losing weight.
I would just be like,
You can make
200,000.
175.
If I was Ben
a couple more
Askren,
months.
Yeah.
You might be like a chunky Campbell's can.
Chunky soup, my favorite.
I wonder how come these guys never do that. Just literally put like on your Facebook page or something like what you'll fight for that month. $2K. $2,000, $20,000, $200,000.
And then-
Just throwing vouchers out there.
Yeah. Pay this amount, I'll fight you.
I'll fight you.
48 seconds into the first round.
Get like a Go Fight Me page.
Yeah.
That's called Rumbler, right? We already know.
Yeah,
it's-
Rumble. It's
there's-
fighters seeking fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think when you're.
But you
looking
can't
for
raise
a
funds
fight-
on that. So
You
you
gotta
got
raise
to
funds on-
raise
okay.
funds on Go
Yeah.
Fight Me for
Yeah.
Rumbler.
And you set it up on Rumbler.
Yeah,
Got
we
it.
don't make nobody pay for that page. We use advertising.
48 seconds into round one, Frank Mir goes down to the legend Fedor Emelianenko.
Dude.
Uncle Fester, man.
Yeah, Dad Bod won. He killed Frank Mir. It was
Either
Yeah,
way,
best
that was
shape
going
of
to
his life.
happen. Dad Bod would have won either way.
Yeah.
Frank Mir, man. He even says afterwards the fight, I was overconfident. I was working out. I was in great shape. Thought everything was great. I was just overconfident. And, I mean, if you go back to, like, Tim Sylvia back in the day when he fought in Affliction, when Tim Sylvia was still, like, legit fighter, UFC, like, left with the UFC belt,
Yeah.
he says, I've never been hit by anybody harder than Fedor.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Like, that he just looks unassuming, but he hits like a ton of bricks.
I want to see him do the test that Ngannou did.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Because he does, and that's the thing that he's been his entire life. He's this unassuming man that
looks
can
like he
throw
just woke
punches.
up.
Yeah, looks like he just woke up. Looks like he's out of shape. But if he connects with you, as so many people have found out, you go to sleep.
See, but I don't believe that pound per square inch thing. I don't think that's it. I think it's these guys, like, they have a point that they hit you with that's like touching you. And that's how they knock you out.
Like the 5-finger.
You know, something like Liddell. Like everybody's
die
like,
in like
Liddell
20
would
minutes.
just,
20 minutes.
you know what I mean? And Liddell would just throw that arm. It's like, yeah, but it kind of hit everybody the same way. You know
That
what I mean?
angle.
Yeah. There was some science to it.
The button. He got the button.
Yeah, so like Nagano, I don't care what he does. He's just hitting people with big meats, and yeah, eventually you're gonna get knocked
He's
out.
the size of a Ford Taurus, sir. The square inch of a Ford Taurus going 98 miles an hour. Don't
He
you remember?
wears two
Is it like
Ford
the SE
Tauruses for
edition?
gloves
Yeah.
when he fights.
Immediately after Chael Sonnen got up off of his announcing desk, went down. Apparently, he was told he was supposed to do this. Went down and looked at Fedor and said, "I think the only thing I hate more." He goes total heel. "I think the only thing I hate more than being right here in Chicago is being in this ring with you. And I assure you, the next time I am, it won't be for long." Mind you, the greatest part about this is Chael's going all crazy heel, WWE style. Fedor's doing this. Do you want me? Do I have to stay? Do I walk this way? Oh, look this. Like, has no fucking clue what's going on, whether he needs to leave.
Because he doesn't speak English,
or walk,
does he?
No, or very, very, very little. Or walk away. Has no idea what Chael's Sonnen's saying. He's over there trying to cut his promo, and Fedor's like, "Can I leave now? Like, I already, Frank Mir's still dead over there. I'm good. Like, can I just walk away? Like, I did my job. The FBI is following me all fucking week. I need to go."
I've won match. I leave now. Yeah?
They didn't even bring a translator in to translate what Chael said.
No, Bellator doesn't have translator budget.
They have.
No, only for Portuguese. Only for Portuguese.
Personal translator.
Yeah.
Is that old lady that walks around with him all the time?
Okay.
Remember her?
No.
No, all right.
The one that used to scream in Pride?
No, that's not the same one. She has not returned my email, by the way. Very upset. Just saying. Invicta 29 will be going
I
on
have nothing for that.
today.
I just like grieve. Let it happen.
Invicta 29 going out today. You can catch us on Fight Pass, the whole card.
Pro Gonzalez is fighting.
Yeah, Pro Gonzalez is fighting, by the way. She got into it with her opponent.
Barbara Ascioli.
Yeah, Barbara Ascioli got all crazy. They had to be separated, which was funny because I didn't see anybody that's actually from Invicta there doing this. A photographer stepped in and was like, "Hey, you guys don't want to fight before the fight?"
Yeah.
And then TJ DeSantis' ass from Sherdog, I don't even know he still works there. He jumped in. He kind of was like, "Hey." But the girl photographer was like in the middle, like pushing.
Oh, really?
And
Hey, the tall girl on the right,
and TJ DeSantis was just like, "Hey, don't do that." Like,
Hey,
I'm
did
like,
it look
TJ,
like a
jump in
punch?
there, man.
It looked
Jump
like
in
it was
there.
a little punch, huh?
Oh, she put her hand on her throat and then like pushed her with
Yeah.
it.
A little push punch.
And they basically started to kind of go, and that's when the photographer jumped in. So you can check that fight out. Again, this is all going down on Fight Pass for the vacant bantamweight title. Sarah Kaufman going against Katharina Lehenner.
Sure.
Yeah?
Leonard.
Lehenner? Yeah.
Sarah Kaufman finally get a belt?
Maybe. I don't see why not.
All right.
So check that out on Fight Pass. And then also going down today? No. I don't know. May 6th in Japan, which could be tomorrow.
It is tomorrow.
Tomorrow today?
Tomorrow today. This is Rizin 10.
It will be there Sunday.
It will
Or
be there.
tomorrow.
Or tomorrow. You can see Kyoji Horiguchi going up against Ian McCall, which I'm excited for that fight.
Dig it.
There's other fights going down as
You got
well.
Nakamura
Check
fighting,
that
but I
out.
don't even know if that's the same Nakamura that I... No, it's
Probably not.
It's not. It is definitely not. Good old Rizin.
Good old Rizin. So check out some Japanese MMA.
I'm glad they're
I
still
don't know. Where do
paying
you even
some.
watch that at?
You can watch it online.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you just go, you check out Rizin.
Just literally in Google.
They've
put
had live feeds for
watch
free before.
Rizin.
Yeah. You'll find it. So that's about it.
That's it for this week. Buy a shirt.
Buy a shirt.
Go to Shirt Sickle. Pick up the Netflix or Fight Night and Chill shirt. Pick up the
Man.
Pride style.
You told them when we got the
shirt.
idea.
Oh shit.
Damn. Oops. And yeah, do that at Shirt Sickle. Shirtsickle.com/
Shirtsickle/SDMMA.
You're gonna have to go back to being an Instagram model.
You look good. You look good at it though. It's good. I like it. Yeah. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at SD_MMA, on Facebook at Split Decision MMA Podcast, and our website splitdecisionmma.com. You can also follow us on iHeartRadio. Never miss a podcast as well. And big thanks to our sponsors, Dependable Solutions. If you're looking for a way to take credit card for your online business, they can hook you up with a great rate, and they can save you how much?
Up to 60%.
Up to 60%. So if you already take credit cards, it's worth looking into because you might save more than you have already. And if you don't,
but if they save you 60%, who's ever doing your business now, you better handle that.
They better handle that. That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, they've been giving you the.
Yep, exactly.
And
Strongboard. StrongboardBalance.com. Change the way you work out. Get on board with StrongboardBalance.com.
Brian Ortega, T-City, man. He's throwing knees on the strongboard.
Yep.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
I tried that and fell, and I have pretty good balance. I was like, I can throw those. Whoa, no, I can't. I'm good.
Do you have to stand in the middle?
He was like, he would stand up.
Stand in the middle.
Yeah,
and then you
stand
gotta hit
directly
a
in the
pad.
middle. You hit a pad.
Can you 1-foot it?
I can. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see.
Come on.
Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, you can 1-foot it.
Throw the knee.
Throw the knee
Throw
and
the knee.
fall over. You're not throwing anything
Throw
now. Hey, drop an elbow.
Watch your man Randy's head.
There's not so much.
The knee's got to come from the back, sir.
Yeah, that's not,
Whatever I did.
there's not so much throwing in these, it's just lifting it. Like that was jazzercise. But well done.
I don't know. No, he wasn't kicking. He was picking the knee up.
Picking the knee up.
So get you a strong board and try it at home. How about that? Thanks for listening. Till next time, Bueller's Odds and Janice saying have a good night. We'll see you at the fights. It's enough physical activity for the day.